live by. Okay, so when I interview people, I look for certain traits that I'm looking for people to put into the right spot with where they're at. So with the words that I live by, I use an example. I say, everyone's heard of Nike, the company. Okay, Nike started its company and started itself with 2 words that it decided every major decision it had to have. Okay, so their initial mission statement, okay, was 2 words. It's not just do it, that's 3 for those of you that thought that's what it was. But it was crush Reebok. Okay, so everything they thought of was crush Reebok. Both companies started together, both companies went out, and Nike has done a fantastic job of doing that, in fact, crushing Reebok. So what they would do is they said, should we make a mouse that's a Nike mouse that we could actually put out to the public? They'd sit down on the table and they'd say, well, will this help us to crush Reebok? And if the answer was yes, they said, let's put it into production. If they said no, they said, let's put it on the shelf till someday it might. But every major decision, should we sign this next athlete? The answer was, would it help us to crush Reebok or would it not? And that's what they put together to say, how do we determine what's going on? And again, it's still today, the answer is, will it help us to crush Reebok? So I look at that and say, that's a company's example of a mission statement and a driving force on the words in which that company lives by. Okay, I myself, most of you already say you know it, right? But I've taught my children and my entire family that never be normal. Normal people get normal paychecks. And so my goal is, Bill Gates, not a normal programmer. Michael Jordan was not a normal basketball player. And their checks were disproportionate to everybody else. So in me saying this, I ultimately taught my children how to sell. Because anytime they came to me and said, Dad, can we get a PS4? And I would say, why do we want to get a PS4? If their answer was, because all my friends have it, and we want to play online together, I'd say, we don't do what normal people do. So they then had to turn and decide, oh, well, Dad, can we get this? Well, why do you want it? Because most people can't afford it and none of my friends have it. So they learned how to sell back to me based off of my criteria of never being normal. So in the financial world that little Miss Essman likes to live in, right? 401k, is it a great program? Not if the masses are doing it. If everybody is doing it, you need to find an alternative route to get done. Unless you're at 100% match, which you can't back out of, 100%, you doubled your money. You'll never have to worry about taxes at that point to get there. But if more people are doing it, you don't want to do it. Okay. One of the things I'll tell you right now, Grant Cardone is out promoting to everybody that they don't need to go buy a house to be secure. Which I agree, you don't have to, but his answer is alternatively, give me the down payment money so I can invest it in other properties for you and pay you a dividend. And my answer is, if you can develop a rental property that's going to pay you long-term, where the renter is going to actually make your house payment for you, that becomes a very lucrative asset at the end of what you're doing. And if the goal is financial freedom, it's not going to be, let me just take the money I just invested with you, get the return, and then give that all back to you, right? It's a very self-serving guidance that goes through. So I want you to focus today on what is the words in which you live by. What is it that there's things? Now, I just interviewed a kid right now, and I said, give me an example of the words in which you live by. And I did the same exact thing where I said, here's Nike, here's Joe, give me an example. And he said, be on time. That's the words in which I live by. And I was like, okay, but why? He couldn't tell me other than his brother was always on time for things. And I'm like, I don't believe that be on time is words in which you're living your life by, because you're just showing up early to things. It's not a get there early, stay late kind of deal where you're trying to be more successful than the other person. But I do challenge you all to say, what is it? Okay, what are the words in which you are living by? And sometimes the words, if we break it down, aren't the best and they're not worded properly. So this is a 2-part meeting. We're going to talk about you and what are words in which you live by, and see if we can determine if that's what's keeping you in the position you're at or if that's what's driving you to the next one. And then I have a second part, which is going in deeper with what that is. So who's going to jump on and tell me they have words in which they live by? Karen, let me unmute you. Karen is unmuted. Go for it.
Um, we kind of created words that we live by just in this past year,
Okay.
and it's really why not?
Okay.
You know, instead of, you know, we live our lives quite often where someone comes up with an idea and you'd be like, well, why do you want to do that? Or something happens, you're like, well, why should I do that? I think it's better to say, well, why not? Why
Okay.
not give it a shot? Why not try it?
So if all your friends are jumping off a bridge, what's your answer? Why not? Okay.
Might be something great at the bottom.
Yes, hopefully enough jumped off, it'll be softer landing for you when you
Exactly.
get there. Yes.
Yeah, Patty.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So, but is that impacting your life right now? Is that changing the way you do it? Is it
It,
something you're asking every time?
not every time, but more than I have been. Like
Okay.
there are different, you know, things. Matter of fact, here's one. That statement is why I go to Danelle now. I've known him for 10 years and I've always, oh yeah, it'd be great to go to, but I always have a reason. And my husband and I are like, well, why not? I'm like, exactly. So
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Now, my question to you though is,
mhm.
what would happen to your life if you asked every question that way? Right? So if we go back to
Yeah.
Nike, Nike said, well, should we make a keychain? And if
Oh,
they
I
said,
get
well,
it. Okay.
if they said, well,
Yeah.
let's not ask that question on anything under $200, right? Or
Okay.
let's not
Right.
ask anything along those lines. So if we're going to make it a driving force, and again, you're baby stepping into it, but
Right.
my question is, why not go all in?
Hmm.
Oh, did you see what I did there? I used your
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Mm.
So as we go in, my answer is why not look at every situation and weigh it out as why not?
Okay.
Okay. And so I just challenge you to say, make it something that is actually impactful
Actionable.
instead of just, do I want to spend money on something? Right? Do I think there'll be a benefit with this? Because there's things you're saying no to right now that
Hmm.
you're not giving the why not to.
Right.
It's the stuff you're questionable about that you give the why not to
Yeah.
as an answer, right? That's what I'm
Right.
picking up on that
Right.
goes
Right. Right.
through.
Yeah.
So that would be
Okay.
my only thing would be to ask every situation why not,
Okay.
and then
And be
use
more
that. Yeah.
actionable. Yeah. More of an
Yes.
actionable thing. Okay. All right.
Right.
Cool.
And that goes from there. Perfect. Thank you
Cool.
for sharing.
Mm.
Anyone else? Nat, you are unmuted.
So mine is always do the right thing.
Okay. And so is that something that is continuously coming up in your life that you sit down and say, always do the right thing? Now, have you done wrong things, even though that's like the words you live by?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Or I haven't or whether it's like treating people the right way, or, even just maybe even over giving myself a commission, or, just not doing something because I didn't feel like it.
Okay.
Because I just feel like I'm making deposits into the universe. And so I want to do so with good intent and pure intent, not because I feel like I have to do something, but because I want to do the right thing by that person. And I feel like it's law of reciprocity.
I agree with that. But I also want to challenge you at the same time. Hold on one sec. Can
I
someone
knew you would.
let,
Well, I raised my hand.
what's her name? That I'm not to get Frank or Chad. So one of the things I want to challenge you on is to say, even with yourself, can you focus that back on you?
I knew you
Because
were going to say that.
me personally knowing you, I'm going to say you're the one that overcommits to others and sacrifices your own time.
Mhm.
And so when you look at it, I'm going to say back and say, are you doing the right thing for Natalie? Right? And that's what I would challenge you to do, is to say, am I actually doing the right thing for me? Because again, you doing what is right doesn't necessarily mean doing what somebody else wants you to do. Right? And it could be the kind thing, not necessarily the right thing. And I want to try to, preserve some of your energy to go forward.
Got it.
And make sure you retain what you need to do that. So perfect. Thank you for sharing. Mohsin, I see you in the corner in the library. You ready? Okay, you are unmuted.
Hello, Joe. Hello, everyone. So my word is value. Whenever I meet somebody or have any kind of interaction with somebody, the first thing that I think about is how can I provide value to this individual? And if I can find a way to provide value to the individual, then I express to them, this is the value that I can provide for you. So I don't think about what is it that I can take from them. The first thought is, what can I give to them? And then after that, usually things just kind of fall into place on their own. So the word value is what strikes up for me.
Okay. Now, are you also seeking value back, or is it a one-way street?
We always want to seek value back as business owners. To say anything otherwise than that would be a lie. At the same time, in the very beginning, that's not what I'm seeking back. Like I said, if it naturally falls into place, it does. But that could mean something as simple as a 15-minute phone call with somebody. And if I don't get anything back from that, that's okay. But that person now knows that I have provided value to them, even in a small way. But more often than not, there's a natural occurrence where something does come out of it, so long as that is the mentality on my end, I've noticed.
Good. And so I will tell you that for me, I've got to the point now where it's more of, if I'm investing in people, it's looking for mutual value that comes in. So the first time with the 15-minute phone call, that's great. If there's no reciprocity back in that capacity, then to me it's not the best transaction, because we then have to start cutting people off, because they become users and they become somebody that only wants the one way. Well, Mo's providing me value. Let me reach out to Mo. Let me reach out to Mo. And I call those the energy zappers that just suck the life out of you throughout the day. And so now when I look at somebody, I sit down. Now there's times where I say, right now, flat out, all I'm going to do is dump into this person. And I'm not looking for something back. Okay. But I look at it, even in this call, right? I put the call out. There's Michelle. Right? So when I look at this call, I look and say, am I getting something back? Yes, I have content that I can repurpose and put out on the web that can help somebody else, but that also builds value into me. Does that make sense? So I'm putting the value out there, and it's going to be moving along that direction. So I don't want to do just one-way things anymore. So that's what I look at and say, I want mutual value back and forth. So I just challenge you, right, to say, okay, Mo, just look at what is it that we can look at and say, am I getting it back? If you do it once, great, right? We can go quote that fantastic president that was a genius, right? Bush Jr. Guy's supposed to laugh at that point. Yes. Okay. With the whole shame on you, shame on me. I don't remember what I'm supposed to do, right? Who it is. Yeah. But again, my answer is what? They're gonna continue to leech off of you for real estate advice, financial advice, right? Something to help me get a car, to do whatever's there. Then you want to make sure that you don't do that, right? So keep some of your stuff for yourself. That's on that one.
Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure. All right, Mo, you can go back to cursing me out. I'm gonna mute you now. So that's it. Yes. And he's doing that too, yeah. Brian, you good? You have words in which you live by? You have words in which you live by in Seattle, walking around? Yes.
I'm in a coffee shop now, but yeah. So I always like the constant, never-ending improvement.
Okay. Can I?
Just yep. Or kaizen is what the Japanese word for it.
Yes.
So I have that as like several of my user names when I log into things. So it's always a kind of a reminder that we don't know it all. So always keep learning whenever possible.
Fantastic. And are we implementing that everywhere?
That's what I was going to say. The problem is when you keep learning, you don't always take action. And that's what I'm having to modify about that statement.
Okay. So constant, never improvement with action. So it's, it's kanai at the end, but
Exactly.
or kaizen that comes through. But yes, I received the Kaizen award when I was at the Toyota store, and I got the samurai sword from Japan. And
Awesome.
So that was some giant katana that was in the background of my office. But no, I agree. The answer is, can we always find a better way to improve? Yes. But at the same time, we all have the shelf help, that whole shelf in our house. Mo's got like a whole bunch of them behind him, right? Where all the books and all the stuff you went to is sitting. So your shelf is really, really smart and, enlightened, and it's on the point of ascension. right? But we haven't actually taken it back off the shelf to use it and to say, here, let me implement it and go through. So in yours, Brian, the answer is going to be yes. Always think about that. If I'm going to challenge you, is to say, what did I just learn? How do I get better at it? And how do I implement it today? And so that way you have some kind of action item going forward in that capacity. So stop laughing at me, ladies. See what you're doing there. So, but that's what I challenge you. Josiah, you in a spot you can talk? I unmuted you, so hopefully you're not going to say anything bad. But Josiah said, I love everybody is the words that he lives by, or I made that up because he didn't talk, but came in. So in looking at this, guys, Michelle, what is yours? Since you're sitting there on the Natalie Essman page.
Consistency, love, and gratitude.
Consistency, love, and gratitude. Okay. So one thing I'll challenge you, because Natalie knew I would challenge you, right? So the gratitude, yes, absolutely. Love, yes, absolutely. Consistency, I would just go for something drilled down a little bit more, because you can consistently do things wrong. And as long as you're doing it consistently, it still falls into what you're looking at, right? So again, I would want to be able to say more of, right, intentional consistency.
Intentional. Oh, okay.
Right? So intentional consistency. So that way it's in your head and it's saying, this is what I choose to do consistently with love and gratitude that comes
Oh, I
up.
like that.
So,
Write that down.
Intentional consistency with love and
and
gratitude.
and Natalie can come back and say, is me writing it down doing the right thing right now? Or shall I give you paper and pen of yourself? Right? Yes. Yes. But Natalie's still going to tell me she's a driver doer. Yes, I know. No matter what, she's always that way.
She's gonna pull out their yardstick to make sure I'm doing that.
Here it is. Here it is.
Being a smart ass right now.
Yes. So I told somebody the other day, somebody said, dude, you're always so funny. This, and I said, my father told me I have a choice of being a smart ass or a dumbass. I just chose to be a smart ass. It's so much easier than rolling down the wrong way. But okay, so now I'm going to go one step further. So that's words in which we live by. Okay, but we also are all in business. We also, whether we have a job or not, we have to represent what we do. And so a lot of people call it an elevator pitch. I don't like the word pitch. Okay, but one of the things I was sitting on another call that I do on Tuesdays, and a couple of weeks ago we were talking and saying, when you go to meet somebody, now have we all gone out to networking events? Have we gone someplace where we're meeting people and things like that? And people, right? Even if we went to Bob Donnell's thing where he tells you to take away the most obvious question that you could start a conversation with, which is, I don't ask anybody what they do for a living. I do. Right? I will do that. And I will say, hi, so what do you do? Because I'm going to try to figure out if there's a reason for us to provide value with Mo, right? To go forward. If we have if they say, well, I'm into, drug trafficking, maybe that's somebody I don't want to build value with. I don't want to go through, or maybe I do. You don't know. But when I look at that, right, if I can find out what you do, but the thing is that we tend to give an answer, which is a finite answer that says, here, this is the socially acceptable answer to what I do. Okay, and we top level it as we go through. And Mike, what I want to challenge you to do is to say, when somebody says to you, so Karen, what do you do for a living? What you have to hear them say is, what can you do for me? Right? What can you do for me? So, because genuinely the answer is that, do I want you in my circle? Like, Karen, do you need another realtor in your life? No, you don't, right? I don't need to be challenging other people, right? I don't need to sit back and tell somebody else. They go, oh, well, I'm a sales coach. I'm like, well, I really don't need you in my circle, right? Because I'm already there. Now, I am also one of those ones that say, great, maybe you have a different approach. Maybe it's there, but that'll start the conversation. But I'm looking to add to my overall network and to put people in that will provide value to me that I can provide value to. But I need to find out what they do. But if they were to answer me back in a different way, as opposed to saying, I'm a realtor, right? And don't we all just believe everybody knows what we mean, right? We turn around and so like the ladies, you're going to turn around and go, we're in financial services. Nobody knows what that means, right? In the financial service industry, you would, right? And so, but the question is, what can you do for me? What is it that you can do for me that's there? And right, what can you possibly do? So I can sit back to somebody all the time and I say, okay, well, I'm a sales coach. I help people to sell, make more money. But if somebody asks me, what do you do? I go, I help people like yourself to maximize every opportunity possible to make a sale. That's something that's different than saying I'm a sales coach. Okay, because I can help you maximize every single opportunity you have to make a sale. So I'm always the first one to ask them what it is they do. So that way I can determine where I'm going to go with it. So like with Dr. Bill and being a chiropractor, right? So just from being a chiropractor, I talked to other people like a dentist, because my answer was, you have to get somebody off of whatever advertising you're doing into your building. They have to legitimately come to those people in their brick and mortar building. So I look at them and I say, you know what I do is I help people like yourself to grab the virtual prospect and turn them into a paying customer inside your business. And they go, oh, that makes sense. And then I talked to Eric Swanson, another guy. He said, so what you're saying is you can go from social media to social media. And so I can say that, but that again is a great book title, but it's not a good title to actually tell somebody. So I'm challenging you guys while you're on the call right now, let's come up with something better that makes sense to the people that you're talking to as far as what it is you can do for them. So, Karen, what do you do for a living? Yeah, you're unmuted, and I put you on the spot right there. Michelle's back there going, I'm going to look like I'm not ready, but I am, right? Because she ultimately is. But so if I'm looking at you, my question to you is, Karen, what is it that you can do for me?
Well, I'm a certified licensed trainer that can help you move from your rental into a home that you own.
Okay. So what can you do? So again, I'm saying, what can you do for me? So can we make it shorter?
Buy a house. I'm just kidding. I'm stuck.
Okay. So let's change.
Okay.
Let's change the topic. I help people, right? So you can say, I help people.
Right.
Keep going.
I help people realize their dreams of owning a home in America.
Okay. So you can just change. I'm just going to mess with your words, right? Because you got it, right? So, so I help people realize the dream of home ownership.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Now that's still kind of vague as to do you do the loans? Do you do that? We can do that. But again, I'm okay with that, because the person who's sitting across from you, if they have any interest in getting a home, what's their next question?
Oh, really?
Really? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to engage the next conversation piece, which is, how do you do this? So I don't give away everything in the beginning. I just do that. So then you would just simply say, I help people, achieve the dream of homeownership.
Perfect.
Okay. And so that way it's short, sweet, to the point, right? That's on there. So
I'm writing that down. So.
Okay. I'm not mad at you for that either. So it'll be on YouTube later if you need to see it. So please ignore Danny, who just walked in the back. I know, very distracting with all of his sexiness. Yes. Everybody else is laughing too, because they know that's just a lie. Yeah. So. Okay. All right. So lovely Miss Essman, you're unmuted. Tell me what it is you do for me.
Am I allowed to steal the one Michelle just created for us?
Of course, because she's not talking, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
You're right there.
I help people maximize every opportunity to protect, save, and earn more money and save on taxes.
Okay. So it's a lot. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, at that point, I really do sound like you're trying to
pitch you.
It's more of a pitch. Yes, exactly. Right.
That was all Natalie's.
I help people with income protection and retirement planning.
Okay. Fantastic. Right. Short, sweet, to the point. And again, if I'm at the point of understanding retirement planning, my question is going to be, okay, so how do you do that? Right. Income protection is a great thing. I just don't know that a lot of people understand what that means. right? If I go, yeah, I'm going to protect your income, they're going to go, well, doesn't my boss do that? Right? They're the one that protects my income because they can decide if I get fired or not. So, but I would just say, let's look for something else. So, sustainable income. Is that something that you can say?
Asset protection.
Asset protection.
Asset protection is a great thing.
So the income protection is the new language for life insurance.
Okay. Is it readily accessible and it's understood by everybody?
No.
Right. So again, if it's not, like Karen's above you going, no. So I don't know if you guys know this, there's a speaker view and then there's a grid view where you can see everybody who's on. And so if you only see my face, then
No, I can see Karen and.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, but yeah. Okay, good. Then, so I would say because it's not readily acceptable yet, it doesn't make sense to say it because it's going to get me to shut down more than it's going to get me to be inquisitive. Right? Because I go, wow, because I'm not going to look at you and go, wow, I don't even know what that means. Right? It takes a lot of self-confidence to go,
Yeah.
what did that mean? Right?
Sure.
Michelle, are you going to use hers or no? Come on now. Come on now. You've always told
No
me you were
pressure.
way more creative than Natalie.
No, I'm actually not. No. So if I'm talking to like a business owner, I'm like, I could help you maximize your business dollars in, what is it? I could help you, people like you, turn your business dollars into tax advantages.
Okay. So how can we say this other than that? And I'm okay with everybody else who jumps in because Brian's itching to jump in. I know him. He's like, no, you don't, right? You provide tax advantages for businesses, right? So that you
Yeah.
don't have to pay everything. But I want to try to get it as smooth as possible that we can get it, right? So what I do is I help business owners avoid paying taxes on the income they make. Right? That would be something that all of a sudden they go, wow, really? How do you avoid paying taxes? Okay. And
Would you
so,
say overpay in taxes?
ooh, look at Brian. See, I told you. He had it. He was there. He was there. Overpaying is a great one. Danny?
Hey, it's all Danny. Still busy.
So, okay. Brian, what do you do?
Another one?
I teach people how to understand other people better and communicate better by learning to read their facial features.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm telling you, you guys
he
have to
said
see the
maybe.
stuff he did on the PowerPoint
Yeah.
presentation.
Okay.
It was amazing. Brian, if you're watching on the video side, yes, Natalie was trying to give you
Like,
some
we can't
facial
see your
features.
face.
Tell me something, Brian.
Yes. No, his PowerPoint thing was amazing. He's on another call with me on that thing, and he jumped in and taught one day. We were just like, oh man, like he can look at your eyebrows, see how they're spaced, see how they're arched, and know personality wise what decisions how you
Love
look
that.
at things.
We're gonna be friends, Brian.
Yes.
See, I should just take Joe with me as a hype man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm all about the hype. Yes. That way you don't have to deliver. I'm not stuck with everything I say. Brian has to be amazing, right? You're like, I just don't understand. I'm like, well then, Brian had an off day that went in. But okay. So Brian, can we do it a little bit with less words? Still getting me something inquisitive.
Sure. So the tagline is I teach setters skills for an enhanced life, but that's too generic, I think.
Correct. Because my tagline is, it's time to cash in on your calls. But if I said that to somebody, they'd be like, I don't get it. When I say we can do phone training where I teach you how to cash in on your calls, that, right, all of a sudden becomes more contextual. But so you are doing, so what? You're using
facial feature recognition,
Okay.
AKA face reading, to understand others and interact with them better.
Okay. So for most people, so what you're doing is improving the quality of communication, right? So I help people to improve the quality of communication using, right, recognition of facial features.
Yep.
right? And so I think that would help, because again, when you have the two girls on the side with the financial services ones, they're over there going, ooh, you know what I can do, right? You know, I can use that in my business, right? Karen's up at the top going, so you can teach me how to read somebody I know if they're lying? Yes.
Not so much the lying part, just it's more of like a map of historical. But do teach some body language stuff, so yes.
Yes. Perfect. So, and then I say I just do everything over the phone, so body language is irrelevant. So
That's why you look like Brad Pitt on the phone.
exactly. See, self-promotion works. That's there.
It does.
Josiah, if you unmute, we'll attack what you do. So, but I will tell you that one of the things that was really great about Josiah the other night is I posted on social media that I was stuck in the Verizon store, and he's like one of those super Verizon sellers. I can fix all your problems kind of genius people. And so immediately I get a text message, why are you in the Verizon store? You have my number. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I said, I was just sitting back with my wife I broke her watch and she had to get a new one, and then we couldn't get the watch line transferred over, blah, blah, blah. Does anybody have any particular questions moving forward? Because, you know, I try to get us done in 40 minutes or less so that we don't occupy too much of your day. Any questions? I need help with this situation. What's Joe's take? Karen says she's good to go. She wrote down her thing. She can say, Karen, what do you do?
I help people like you realize that.
That was awesome. And hi, please hold. I do this. Yes. You're gonna be like one of those ladies that come get money from you at like all the restaurants. You just walk up with a card and hand it to them. I'm deaf, and I want you to donate or buy a sucker, right,
Exactly.
to get my kids. Yes.
Exactly.
Here's what I do. Yes.
I help people like you realize the dream of home ownership.
Nice. That was smooth.
Nice.
That was smooth.
And then I do it with a smile, so you don't see my resting bitch face.
Nice. So Brian, that's what she posted up there. She needed help with that. Yeah, she suffers from RBF, so she didn't know if you can help her with that. So, but perfect. Natalie, what do you do?
I help people like you maximize every opportunity to protect their assets and plan their retirement.
Awesome. Michelle, what do you do? Is it different than what she does? Because you're both on the same camera. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I hope
We're duplicatable, Joe.
That's
Nice.
right.
Nice.
I hope business owners like you avoid overpaying taxes on their income.
Nice. Now, because it's hard to put on a card.
It
Right?
is.
Yes. So, nobody reads it the right way. Perfect. Thank you. Michelle, what do you do?
I help business owners like you avoid overpaying taxes on their income.
Oh, beautiful. That's smoother. Came out much better. Brian, what do you do? I can't unmute Brian. He's fancy.
Hey, who's Juan Martinez? Me, bro. I've been missing on like 2
Yes, he does. So
Sorry about that.
it's
I
okay.
couldn't get, since I was walking, I didn't write down what we discussed, but it was shorter version of I help people understand others via facial feature recognition. I don't remember if that's what we said.
Yeah, so you help people enhance communication through facial recognition.
That's right. Okay.
Good to go. All right, party people. They're passing out checks behind me. It's going to get loud because people love money. Woohoo! Yes. So, but I thank you all, and I appreciate you guys coming on the War Game Wednesday, and we'll be back every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So, thank you, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.